Hello, friendos and bendos, it's me, Z, and welcome to an unscripted video. This video was originally meant to be scripted, but first of all, the month is gonna end, and I just could not make a script in the few days that we had left in the month. I wanted to at least have one more video come out this month, and two, I realized that an unscripted format would actually make this video kind of come off a little like better, like as like a rant sort of thing, because I'm gonna get so crazy in this video probably. So if you don't know, DC recently released New History of the DC Universe. It's a 4-issue miniseries. The final issue came out very recently, and essentially what this book does is it chronicles the official canon DC timeline as of right now. And I'm going to be focusing on Wonder Woman specifically because this book, it does what it sets out to do, but it also raises so many fucking questions. Like, it does not answer so many questions. I want to talk about what is not answered because it annoys me so much. So by the way, shout out to Fantastic Nonsense on Tumblr. They helped with this video as well. Follow them there. I'll link them in the description. They helped source a lot of the information for this video as well, including the fact that for some reason the 4th issue, the digital version, does not have the annotations that the other issues have. I don't know why, but yeah. So let's talk about that. So the book has a narrative section with artwork and short captions, and then at the end of the book there's a footnote section that lists issues, and it's kind of a soft canon type of thing where, like, if it mentions an issue, you're not supposed to like take that issue as fully canon. It's more like the vague events of that issue are still true. So yeah, but the thing is, there's a problem with this that I'm gonna note soon. So first of all, the book begins with the origins of the Greek gods and the Amazons and the different Amazon tribes. This is perfectly fine, works pretty well, no problem with it. By the way, this video is not like an actual like timeline video. It's more like a review of New History of DCU. This is not me actually going through like Wonder Woman's history in chronological order. This is me reviewing how the book does it. So this isn't like an informative video. It really is like a straight up rant. So we also have Nubia's history before her reincarnation, and this is pretty fine. Things are fine so far. And then, fuck me, World War II Wonder Woman and it's Hippolyta. So I have so many issues with this. So first of all, I'm not a fan of World War II Wonder Woman, alright? I mean, I prefer it would be Hippolyta, and it is Hippolyta in this, but like, I'm just not a fan of World War II Wonder Woman in general, because first of all, it came out of John Byrne's Wonder Woman run, and John Byrne, he essentially loved using his Wonder Woman run to just use concepts that he liked more than Wonder Woman and just have them take over the book. He did it with Etrigan, he did it with the New Gods, and he did it with the JSA. He was like, okay, Wonder Woman was part of the JSA, and I like the JSA, so this is an excuse to have Wonder Woman be in the JSA for a bit. And the way he did it was so fucking stupid, because he had Diana die, Hippolyta became the new Wonder Woman, and then Hippolyta time traveled back in time to World War II to join the JSA. And that completely changed history and introduced a whole bunch of plot holes, and I think I've talked about this before, but it annoys me so fucking much. And part of the reason this annoys me so much is because because Hippolyta, it's better to do Hippolyta as the World War II Wonder Woman than Diana, because if you make Diana the World War II Wonder Woman, then why does she leave the island in the first place, and does she stay Wonder Woman, or does she go back to the island and come back? And what about Steve crash landing? Does that still happen? Like, that introduced a whole lot of problems. But even with you doing Hippolyta as the World War II Wonder Woman, that still introduces problems like, why did she leave to go to Man's World in the first place? Why did she stop being Wonder Woman after the whole JSA disbanding thing? Like, why did she stop being Wonder Woman? Then you have Diana being a legacy character. Like, throughout this book, they keep calling her Wonder Woman 2, and it's like, holy shit. Can you imagine if this happened like Superman or Batman? Like, they were part of the JSA, but like, they're not being retconned into having their grandparents be part of the JSA, and they're now Superman 2 and Batman 2. It's so mind-bogglingly weird, and one of the things that makes it even more mind-bogglingly weird is that there are no citations. Like, the annotations that you saw in the previous slides, there are none for this. There are no issues given for a source on Hippolyta being a member of the JSA. She just is, alright? And it's like, okay, what does that mean? Could you not find a source that's like suitable enough, or is there an upcoming source? Like, what is like? Why are you so focused on annotations, but then you immediately like have this really like pivotal thing and be like, nah, we're not doing any annotations. It's like, what? And then we have Diana coming in, right? And we have her history. So she comes in the modern day. Hippolyta. She stops being Wonder Woman, and then Diana comes in the modern day, and Wonder Woman Year One is basically the approximate, canon Wonder Woman origin story, and that's fine. I like Wonder Woman Year One a lot, but there's this problem that's introduced with this because we skipped directly from Hippolyta being the World War II Wonder Woman to Diana's appearance as Wonder Woman in the modern day. And the problem is that even though the narrative section confirms that Wonder Woman was sculpted from clay, so we're officially back to the clay origin being canon, the problem is that we have no fucking idea how old Diana is. Like, this book has no reference to when Diana is born. It also has no reference to an origin story that works for the clay origin. So like, and I don't care about that in terms of, oh, was she born when it was storming outside? No, I don't mean that. I mean literally, like, there's no timeline placed on her birth. So we still have no idea how old Diana is. Like, is she thousands of years old? Is she, like, in her early 20s? Nobody knows, and that fucks me up because we also have Nubia here. We see that she becomes the Defender of Doom's Doorway, and it says that it's around the same time as Jon Stewart, which also raises a few questions, but, like, also, Nubia is born at the same time as Diana, so, like, her becoming the new champion of Doom's Doorway, like, it depends, like, how long after like Nubia is reincarnated. It affects that as well, and so I really want to talk about this because how old is Diana? Really, this should be one of the things that they clarify, but they don't clarify it, and I think so. Here's my thought process. So, in Wonder Woman issue number 2, in the most recent run by Tom King, they have a flashback to Diana's time in the Coliseum, fighting to see in the contest who would go to Man's World, Steve. And she's depicted as very young there. I'll try to throw up something on the screen here, editing powers activate, but she's depicted as very young, and the way that Amazon aging works, this should mean that Diana, around the time she becomes Wonder Woman, is 18 to early 20s. Like, she's depicted, like, Sam Pierre draws her very young, but I'm just gonna assume, that's just, like, artistic, like, comparison stuff. Like, the other Amazon's just insanely huger. But, like, even then, like, Perez's Diana, who was also around that age, wasn't, as muscular as, modern day Diana. So, that, like, as in modern day Diana, I mean, like, how Diana is normally drawn, like, in current comics. And so, that's fine with me, but I assume that this means that we're just supposed to assume that Diana is in her early 20s when she becomes Wonder Woman fully in modern day, and you'd assume that, right? But then you introduce another problem, because this book also makes Darkseid War. It makes Darkseid War fully canon again. And it's Darkseid War cannot be fully canon because it introduces some problems, right? Namely, Grail and Jason. The book confirms that both Grail and Jason are still canon. And first of all, why the fuck would you make Jason still canon? Like, you did not have to do that. But also, they make Jason Diana's half-brother, and this introduces a whole problem, because if you don't understand, Darkseid War, it essentially made it so that Diana, when she was born, she had a twin brother, alright? Zeus fucked Hippolyta, and Hippolyta had twins. It was Diana and Jason, okay? And then at the same time, Darkseid mated with another Amazon, and that Amazon gave birth at the same time as Diana and Jason to Grail. And this introduces some problems because, first of all, Grail is shown in Darkseid War to be thousands of years old, meaning that New 52 Diana, as of Darkseid War, was thousands of years old. So if Darkseid War is still canon, does that mean that Diana is thousands of years old? But then we have another problem, which is the fact that they call Jason Wonder Woman's half-brother here, meaning that I think we're supposed to assume that Zeus still fucked Hippolyta, but Hippolyta only gave birth to Jason, and that introduces a whole other problem because is Jason older than Diana, or is he still Diana's twin? And also, even removing the Zeus origin for Diana, I still don't like Zeus mating with Hippolyta at all. Why am I saying mating? That's so fucking gross. Why am I saying mating? Gross. What am I? Oh, anyway, you can tell I'm being very exasperated here because I'm seriously like trying to consider how this like unfolds. Like, so either so if we're still working on like a soft canon type of thing, right? Like, oh, not every single detail happened. So either so Hippolyta sculpted Diana around the same time that she gave birth to Jason, and that's also when Grail was born, and so they're all thousands of years old, or Grail and Jason are thousands of years old, but Diana was only recently sculpted, or all those things happened recently, and all the like Roman soldiers we see in Grail's backstory, we're just supposed to ignore that, and she's also just as young as Diana and Jason, and all of these things, they introduce so many complicated issues. And I don't like any of them. And really, the big problem is Jason. Like, why do we need to have Jason back? Like, can we not just say that Darkseid War just happened, but the Jason thing was not revealed? Like, was that really necessary? And I understand that they want to keep, all of Rebirth canon, sure. But if you're already going to be retconning a ton of shit, why keep all the controversial stuff that, like, nobody likes? Like, Anyway, then we have Donna's origin, and so Donna's age. So we learn that Donna was adopted by Diana shortly after she became Wonder Woman, and we get specifically Tales of the Titans 2023 noted as the origin for this. And the problem is that Tales of the Titans 2023 issue number 3 came out before the recent Titans annual, which also featured Donna's origin, and both of them pictured Donna as very like different ages when she's rescued by Wonder Woman. Like in Tales of the Titans, which is the one on the left, and that's the one referenced in the book, she's very clearly like 4 or 5, maybe 6. But in Titans Annual, she's very clearly like 2, 3 max. You know what I mean? And the problem with this is, again, it's a soft canon thing, but am I just supposed to assume this is like artistic liberty? But even then, that assumes stuff about the rest of the DC universe, because Donna should be around the same age as the rest of the original Titans, because they mentioned the original Titans here. Dick, Wally, Roy, Garth, she should be around their ages. And so, like, Donna being 6 or 3 when she's saved by Diana, that completely changes the dynamic, because, like, her becoming Wonder Girl, it's a difference between, like, Wonder Woman's active for 4 years, and then Donna becomes active as Wonder Girl, and that's around the same time that, Dick becomes active and Roy becomes active. But, like, you also have this thing where if she's younger than that means that, like, Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman and all of those guys have been active for a lot longer before they had sidekicks, and that introduces, I don't know, some weird plot elements, and, like, it's just especially weird because in New History of the DCU, they, like, show stuff like LexCorp isn't founded until after Dick Grayson becomes Robin, and so then you have to wonder, like, how long was it from, like, Superman becoming Superman to LexCorp being founded? And also, how does, like, maybe Robin was Robin before the other sidekicks came into fruition? I'm not sure. It's just one of those things where doing this thing where you have annotations for some things and annotations for not other things, and also no, like, specific timestamps, it gives a very loose feeling to the time stream. And on one hand, that's kind of the point. Like, the book ends on this thing where Barry's like, oh, but DC's continuity is so wacky and weird. But it's like, you get my point, right? Now we have the villains as well. And so Diana meets most of her villains, like, before the Justice League is, like, officially formed. And there's 2 things here. First of all, Barbara Minerva is listed as the second cheetah. So this implies two things here. First of all, there's a cheetah before her, right? And the question is, who the fuck was that? Because the second problem is that there were two cheetahs in continuity before Barbara became Cheetah. Not one, alright? Literally as recent as Wonder Woman issue number 10 by Tom King, we got reference to both Priscilla Rich and Deborah Domain, the two cheetahs before Barbara. And so, now the question is, who is this first cheetah and who is the not first cheetah? Right? Like, how does this work? And are we supposed to, like, assume that this is a mistake in the book? Or are we supposed to assume that since this is more recent, it supersedes Wonder Woman issue number 10? You know, same reason with Wonder Woman issue number 2, like, and with Diana's age. And another thing to add on, why is Silver Swan here? Why is Silver Swan here? Because, as far as we knew, Vanessa Capitalis in the current continuity was the first Silver Swan, and her appearance as Silver Swan happened very recently. But now we're introducing a first Silver Swan, which means that, like, why hasn't this been referenced at all? Like, I don't understand what's the purpose of this is. There was no need to have Silver Swan, like the original Silver Swan, be in this, especially since we don't know if this is like the Helena Alexandros Silver Swan or the Valerie Beaudry Silver Swan. It's just very strange. You know, at least we have Angleman here. At least that's nice. I love Angleman. But along with this, we also have to talk about like the sources that are cited again. So for Giganta, we get both the original Giganta origin story for the Golden Age, but also the post-Crisis one, and that doesn't make any fucking sense because both of those origins are completely contradictory. And like, it's one thing to have one origin and be like, oh, it's soft canon. It's another thing to cite two entirely different origins, and it's like, what is going on here? Like, is she an ape turned into a human? Is she a scientist turned into an ape turned back into a human? What is going on? And, you know, Tom King's run tried to, you know, skirt by this and say, oh, nobody really knows. But, like, no, now Mark Waid is just going, actually, both are true? Maybe? I don't know. And it's like, what was the point of this? What was the point? I don't understand. Also, the mod era is back to being canon. Why? I don't know. Like, it's very strange what they decide is and is not canon. Like, the mod era being canon, what does that add? Like, what does it add? Like, I Ching? Who gives a fuck about I Ching? Alright, Dr. Cyber? We already have a Dr. Cyber origin from Rucka's Rebirth run. You know, the one that you're trying to make canon again? Like, Also, we have nothing on Artemis in here. Like, nothing about Artemis is in this book. I just want to say, like, we have no information about Artemis here, and that's especially weird because we have, well, obviously we have like Artemis in fucking the contest where, you know, she became Wonder Woman for a while. But what I mean by that is we don't have anything to do with Artemis's origins before the contest. Like, we don't know anything about her. So, like, is the Rebirth stuff about Artemis, is that still canon? Who knows? And Cersei as well. War of the Gods is canon, but, like, I don't think that, like, Cersei post-Crisis and post-Rebirth are, like, all that different. But, like, still, we need, like, some confirmation about that, especially because Ares is a big thing, especially because Cassandra Sandsmark, so for some reason the New 52 origin of her being a daughter of Lennox instead of being a straight-up daughter of Zeus, that's still canon. But even with that, like, if you're keeping Cassandra Sandsmark, if you're essentially keeping, you know, the Young Justice stuff canon and trying to keep a lot of post-Crisis elements canon, what about Ares? Like, Cassandra interacted a lot with Ares. Ares was also a big part of Greg Rucka's run, but he was also a big part of Greg Rucka's Rebirth run. He was part of Greg Rucka's post-Crisis and Rebirth run, and the problem is, both of those Ares are completely incompatible. They're completely incompatible characters, alright? Ares post-Crisis and Ares post-Rebirth are completely different characters, and we still do not know which one of them is canon, because it's either that Ares is one of Wonder Woman's oldest and most powerful foes, or she literally never met him until very recently. Like, that was the dynamic, and I thought that this would answer it, and the answer is no, this is not answered with it, and that's crazy to me, because now it's like, okay, because if the original Ares was the canon one, I think that would work a lot better, because that's a lot of less stuff you have to retcon, but it's just, it's killing me, it's murdering me right now, it's actually, like, killing me right now, and it's just I don't know. And there's so much stuff about Wonder Woman's timeline that is just left unanswered. Like, obviously I didn't expect like exact dates for stuff, but I at least expected more references. I at least expected more clarification on certain stuff, you know, like especially with again Hippolyta. Like, let's be really serious right now. So Hippolyta became Wonder Woman, and then she left to go back to Themyscira, and then Diana became Wonder Woman, but we still don't know when Diana was born, and we still don't know, you know, who was the first cheetah, if there was multiple cheetahs before Barbara. We don't know anything about Artemis and her story with the Bionic doll, if it's like post-crisis or post-rebirth, because Cassandra also trained with Artemis in post-crisis, was like, as of recently, she only just recently met Artemis. Like, in continuity, she only just recently met Artemis, and so that's like, what elements are you bringing back to the forefront, you know? This book should have been like 6 issues. Like, 4 issues was not enough. There should have been, for fuck's sake, this should have been fucking 12 issues. I mean, come on. I am just so baffled here because the book, again, it does do its job. Like, it gives us, like, it tells us, like, especially some stuff is canon and some stuff is not canon. But, like, it also, it's so weird to me. It's just so weird and so frustrating. And I want to know you guys' thoughts because I'm just going insane right now. Yeah, that was it for me, Z. I just really wanted to get a video out there. I'm very angry right now because I did not expect this to get me so angry, but it did. Yeah. Better videos to come. This video is really shitty, but sometimes you have to have a shit video out there. Bye. That's what YouTube was meant for, so goodbye. See ya.